Open tabs, margin notes, highlighter, bleed through quotes, research minds, steady eye patterns only she can note. I-90 fog, whispering under wheels, skyline, afterglow, two states, packed rooms, quiet minds that know, no sign needed out front. They circle to her voice, questions rise before she starts, curiosity by choice. She pivots mid-lecture, checks who's leaning in close. Say the part you skip out loud, that's where the learning goes. Heads home with the speakers up, Biggie in the background, mind still mapping theories while the city slows down. She teaches the why behind the crime, the hurt behind the face, Philly in her backbone, psychology in her grace. Don't let the hype fool you, she stands 10 stories tall. She don't just teach the lesson, she teaches you through it all. Late nights with case files open, notes in the margin glow. She's showing you your story's roots, so you can choose where to go. Yeah. Biggie quotes inside the slides, right next to coping skills. Spread love between the lines of how a nervous system feels. Long days, quiet grit, humor in the punchlines. You are more than this moment, written 10 times, old assessments in a folder, ink dust on the sleeve. She can map anxious attachment before you know you grieve. 1 foot in Jersey lecture halls, 1 on the Philly street. Home is where she learned to fight, classes where we don't repeat. Grown kids texting check-ins, pride she doesn't post. She teaches minds all day, then goes in mother's most. Case files, true crime, mind behind the scenes. She doesn't tell you what they did, she shows you what it means. Your story is not your diagnosis. You are allowed to rewrite it.
Hi everyone, welcome, welcome, welcome. Come on in. Hopefully you can all hear me good and everything's good. Come on in, come on in. Thank God my husband's here. Thor just barked to go outside. I swear to God, he waits. Oh, don't mind my hair. He waits until I go live to go out. We all know that. So how's everybody doing? How's everyone doing? While we're waiting for people to come in, let's say hi to everyone. Welcome everybody, welcome everybody. So, we're going to be going over a very a topic that, let me be honest, I did not want to do. So, let's be honest, right? So I did not want to do this. As a matter of fact, people started asking me about it the other night, and I said, oh, I don't know, I didn't want to get involved. First of all, we have allegations here, so I wanted to make sure, that's clear. But then I started getting more and more requests from people asking me what I think about it, and asking me, am I going to talk about anything? So I thought about it, and I'm I'm here because I'm a psychology based program, and people come here because they want to learn about psychology. And if not for anything other than learning about some of the topics that go along with this, you know what I mean? I feel it's needed. So with that being said, I'm going to download my slides, because we all know I have slides. If anyone is interested, I've been putting every night after our live, I go right to Discord. Cuffy always reminds me, but I go right to Discord and I download my slides so that everybody can have access to them. And there you go. And then that way you guys can all look at them when you want to, or if you don't want to, whatever. But this is the deal. So tonight we're going to go over this case. Please smash the like button at least, because I have a feeling I'm going to get a lot of people are going to come after me for this, but at the same time, I can't be afraid of that. If I don't stand for what is the saying? If you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. So even if, I thought about it, and even if it comes to where these allegations become just that, allegations, right? I still feel like, oh no, that's covering my face. I'm trying to get, oh, there we go. Here we go. Okay, so I'm thinking, even if these allegations never, and nothing ever comes of it, I at least need to do this topic for all of my family out there who has been personally affected by DV. I have it, what it's really called up here, you guys, but just for the sake of YouTube and not wanting to get not copyright strike, but like get in trouble. Like, I don't want them not to show people this. I am just going to put it as DV, or I'm going to say DV, but it says it really there. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about DV, coercive control, financial abuse, and credibility. And again, please, as you come in, welcome. Thank you for being here. Please make sure that you like the stream, because I want this to get out there. And I have to be honest with you, I was so hesitant because I'm a little bit nervous. I work hard on this channel, and you know, it's still in the beginning, so the benefits are you guys. That's like really it. There's like a little bit of benefit, but you guys are my main benefit. So I'm like, I have to give back and do this. So with that being said, tonight we're going to look at, can everybody hear me okay and everything? I'm dozing in and out if I disappear right now. Casey, get up. No, I'm just joking. I'm literally just joking. Hi, Cece. Cece Legal's here. How are you? Yes, 3-year restraining order means there's a probable cause. Thank you for saying that. Aside from his past, allegedly the victim was the first woman in this situation. Wasn't the first. Don't understand why he wasn't arrested. Thank you for saying that. And because you do have a legal background, I don't know if you hear it in my voice, but like I instantly feel like I calm down a little bit. I just get nervous because he's got I'm just being real. He has like 500,000 plus subscribers. I have 5,000. He could squish me in a second. And if that's what happens, then that's what happens. At least I go out knowing that I fought for something. So take a deep breath and let's do this. Hi, Diane. Cup Views here. Harlot, we missed you last night. Harlot, I think last night might be the only live that you weren't here for in the entire lives that I've ever done, which is fine. You're allowed to have a day off, you know what I mean? But it was just crazy because I was like, where's Harlot? It was funny. Hi, Ramona. I'm just seeing who's here. Hi, Wise Woman, Cece, Cheryl, Andrea. Come on in, you guys. Come on in. Welcome, welcome. Let me know where you're coming in from. Let's have a conversation about this, you guys. So let's get into it. This is another thing. So we're going to go through these slides, and I have so many sources. When I tell you, I've been doing the research for this live since yesterday. So there's a ton of sources here. So I am going to share some of them with you, and we're just going to go through this and we're going to see what happens. Hi, yes, ma'am. I say yes, ma'am all the time. Hi, sis. Sis, you should have been a detective. Oh, I love that. Nice name. Awesome. I'm so happy that people are coming in. I didn't know what to expect. This is the other thing, you guys. Just know that, again, these are allegations, and if for anything, there's so many of you right now in this chat that have been in a situation like this. So to respect my respect for you, right? This shows my respect for you. This is one thing I honestly, thank God, have never dealt with in real life as far as for myself, thank God. But I teach about it, and I have friends and family that have been through it, and, you know, my family here on YouTube. Hi, Cheryl. Okay, let's get into it. Tonight we're going to look at JLR through a DV, and Intimate Partner V lens. So when you see IPV, that's what it stands for. Intimate Partner, you know what the V is. It's the same thing for DV. So we're going to look at it through that lens. The update matters because the source base is now stronger than it was in, when I've been looking into this literally, like I said, for more than a day. And again, that might not sound like a lot, but that's a lot when it's still the beginning of your YouTube and, it's still new. But the more I've looked into it, like every hour something new pops up. So from last night, this literally changed 12 times my slideshow. And it's because every time something new came out and I watched it, I updated it. So with that being said, here we go. So I'm not here to convict anyone from a live stream, and I'm not here to do armchair diagnosis theater. We all know that. I'm here to ask whether the reported behavior patterns are consistent with coercive control, intimidation, financial abuse, physical abuse, post-separation relation, and image management. Okay. I also want to ask whether public outrage may have functioned as private leverage here. So things like being afraid, for speaking out. And I did a lot of deep diving, and I found similar language amongst people throughout the years. Like, for example, she says, she meaning Jamie Phillips, let's say JP for the rest. And people know her as Magnolia, his girlfriend for I think it was 4 years. And apparently this isn't an isolated incident. It's something that's happened multiple times. So, we need to look at that too. We also have to remember, you guys, and most of you know this, especially those of you who have been in these situations, that it doesn't get better, right? It doesn't get better. It just gets more and more dangerous each time. So it's important to have these conversations, because if somebody else is in there, listening to this right now and you're in the situation, just know that there is help out there and that you can get out of the situation, but don't do so by just upping and leaving, because we know from statistics that that's actually the most dangerous time to leave the relationship. So CC Legal says another big story now is about the former reality star, Joseph Duggar, and his wife Kendra, with child endangerment and false imprisonment charges. What's with all the DV cases? Absolutely. There are so many, right? And what about the girl, the Bachelorette? They canceled the Bachelorette because of her DV allegations. So, it's so much more prevalent than people have realized. So this is a core idea for the night. Ready? So abuse is often missed when viewers are distracted by the spectacle. So the more chaotic and attention-seeking pattern the figure appears, the more some people confuse chaos with honesty. But in many cases, chaos itself can become part of the control system. Okay, so keep that in mind. Okay, so this is not gossip, a gossip live. It's a patterns of power live. Okay, so I want to keep that in mind. So this is our next slide. I could have made this a little bit easier to see. I do apologize. If I have a minute, I don't know if I will, but if I have a minute after the live, I will try to space it out a little bit more, maybe do it 1.5 space, so that people could see it better. Okay. All right, here we go. So this slide is what can we say about safety and what should we not say about safety, right? So these guardrails protect both from quality of the analysis and credibility of everything that we're saying here. So we do have to be careful, okay? What I did was I looked at many documents. I have at the very end all of the documents. So, all of the resources, so people could go to these documents that I talk about in this live stream, just by going at the very end of the slides. One of the documents is an Arkansas petition, and I thought this was strong because it's sworn and specific. It's still a petition, not a criminal conviction. The New York Post article that a lot of people are talking about adds cooperative reporting, including the claim that the court issued an order of protection and that the Chelan County Sheriff's Office indicated probable cause to arrest, while also noting that no formal charge or warrant appears to have been issued in the reporting they reviewed. So just like CC Legal was saying, there's enough here for a probable cause, which is very, very important. And like I put in the slides, this isn't the first time. This has been alleged to have happened multiple times. So tonight, the language I want to use is according to the petition, according to an article, according to filing alleges, according to article reports, and the record provided here indicates. They're all the things that I am going to speak about, or they're that's the language I'm going to be using, because everything that's in these slides has come right from one of those things that I just said, a document of some sort. So none of this is, coming from someone's opinion, all right? This is not, I'm sorry, this is hedging because, this is not hedging because I'm weak, it's hedging because I am accurate. It lets me analyze the behavior without overstating what the record proves. Because again, I'm here as the psychological part, I'm not here as the legal person, right? So the other major guardrail is diagnostic restraint. So the user mentioned a prison documentary and certain diagnoses. So unless the documentary or transcript is at hand, which I think I found, so I should have went back and changed this. So I did find, so there's a prison record where there's a formal diagnosis, and it says that the person in jail, so here JLR, they did have a formal diagnosis of borderline personality disorder, anorexia, and antisocial personality disorder. I think that this is so important because we see this a lot with DV cases. And again, these are allegations. I'm just using this as a way for us to speak about this. And again, I use cases so that I could talk about the important psychological topics that are behind them. So with that being said, we have to make sure that we're using behavior analysis and not diagnoses. However, for once, we do have documented diagnoses here, you guys. And it's the same, we talk about cluster B, personality disorders. Borderline personality and antisocial personality are both a cluster B personality disorder. And then we have anorexia. I don't know if the anorexia was diagnosed because he was on a hunger strike at the time, so I'm not sure if that's why he fit the criteria at the time. So I'm not sure. I don't know. I have to look at it further, but it wasn't about his diagnosis, the document. It was about him refusing to eat. So that's why, but it does have a diagnosis in there. It says diagnosed as. So I thought that was interesting. This next slide here is an evidence map. So what is strongness, what is supportive, and what is contextual? So I want everyone to understand why this is important, right? So this petition is the anchor because it's the most direct DV or IPV, interpartner, document in this record of all the things that I was able to read. So the New York Post article is useful because it reports additional context, including the order of protection, the probable cause statement, and the broader discussion of public persona and monetization. The federal order matters because it's not gossip, it's court It's the court describing Riches as a serial filer. And okay, so this was the thing. I was looking at patterns of behavior. The best predictor of future behavior is past relevant behavior. So let me state here before I even get into this that some of the past for both the for everyone here, we all have a past, right? Including myself. Everybody has a past. We all come with a story. And everybody's story usually gets taken into consideration when thinking about these types of situations. So with that being said, a lot of the things leading up to this, I've always been the one, and somebody said in my comments that they felt silly because they've always been the one, not the one, but like one of the people to say, oh, that's his past. Let's just not even, look at any of the past behavior. Let's forgive and forget, move forward. He did his time. I was one of them. I was right there. And I would still be right there if not for these allegations. And this is just my opinion as a human being, which is why these allegations become, or these past behaviors become relevant to me, as opposed to somebody whose past behaviors stopped maybe in 2012, 2016. I don't know the exact dates. I think I have them written down somewhere in here. So again, if his past behavior, if the bad behavior stopped back when he did his time, all that stuff, absolutely people change over time. But when you see a pattern of behavior that continues, that's when your past behavior becomes relevant. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay? So one of the things that I saw that I didn't love, wait, hold on, let me see how I have this word here real quick. So we have, let's see, documents. Okay, so I don't know if you guys know this, but he filed over 4,000 lawsuits in the past. That's a lot. But that wasn't even enough for me to be like, oh, past bad behavior, da 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 da. It wasn't until I started seeing like the Sandy Hook thing. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but that's what's on the front of, that's the front picture on my thumbnail. It's a picture from Sandy Hook where he is, I don't even have to say allegedly, he was saying that he was Adam Lambert's uncle. And he did like news reports and stuff, and then he did actually, let me share something real quick. Let me share you an example. And again, the only reason I share this, or that I think that this is important here, and we're going to look at other stuff too, but again, the reason I think that this is important is because I think it's important to see a pattern of not caring, right? So not caring about, we always talk about things like guilt and remorse and stuff like that, and we're going to see a pattern of behavior over the years. So I created this little
Jonathan Lee Richards
video here. So I already went through and looked at different YouTube videos, and I pulled out some things for us tonight. So let me get this real quick. And again, you guys, this is my personal opinion, and this is my way for us to speak about this particular topic. It's important, right? It's important. If we don't talk about it, who will? All right, hold on. I think I had to redo it. Come on, where are you? Oh wait, hold on, let's see. Alright, let me make sure you guys are saying what I'm saying first. Does it change?
Jonathan Lee Richards.
I know it doesn't. Hold on.
2000, back in 2007,
Hold on, I have to
sued
pause
Michael
this.
Vick in federal court.
Okay, so there were many people that he sued, and again, what does this have to do with the allegations? The only reason, in my opinion, that this is important is because bad behavior continues. If you have bad behavior and you've done your time, you've done your crime, your time, whatever the saying is, if that's, that you did that, then that's great. But when the bad behavior continues, it becomes prevalent. Why is it also prevalent here? Because we often talk about disorders like cluster B personality disorders. We talk about different crimes and how the people are people with some of these cluster B personality disorders. And the reason why this is so important, you guys, is because a lot of the people that charm us, or that we allow in our lives, that are charming, we talk about charming behavior all the time, stuff like that. These are the behaviors of somebody that can get so many followers, right? Let me give you an example. When people give me like a negative feedback, it hurts a little bit. I get over it real fast, but for a second it hurts. I don't know that somebody, and again, this person has been diagnosed, so they say in the court documents that this is a formal diagnosis, so trusting what the documents say, not what because I really haven't looked enough now. I don't think it takes a genius to look at all of the evidence and see that there's a lack of guilt and remorse somewhere along the way, but let me give you an example, just so you guys get what I'm saying.
Not a lot of publicity with it.
Oh, well, Harley.
People don't understand that I also sued Michael Vick in state court, and around the same time, here's a copy of the suit, handwritten, Jonathan Lee Riches versus Michael Vick in the state of Maryland, Circuit County Court of Kent County. I'm going to read this lawsuit that I filed against Michael Vick so you can understand what he did to me and what he's doing to others. And Mr. Vick, if you're listening, you must be held accountable for your actions.
Okay, so this right here, you guys, is supposed... Oh my gosh, of course Thor wants to drink all of his water right now. But this is what his lawsuit against Michael Vick. So not only does he do these frivolous lawsuits, and I call them frivolous, he calls them frivolous. We're going to see, I don't know if you guys know this, but he has 2 books. And they're like both on Amazon. So people could buy his books. And they're both about like things like litigation. And the one goes through the different years, like 2008, 9, 10, 11. It's 8, 9, it's like 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then the next like chapter is years 11 through 16. And he literally lays out all of the like the most interesting people that he sued those years and puts them like in that chapter. I'll show you, don't worry. But I think that this is all important because it's a pattern of behavior. It's not a one-off. And I think that we need to be careful, because if someone's behavior or has behavior patterns, and like he literally in the book tells you like a system of like how to do certain, like I'll have to show you. Let me just show you.
Jonathan Lee Riches, copyrighted versus Michael Vick. Civil complaint. It's titled, I've Been Victimized. See? I've been victimized. Plaintiff Jonathan Lee Riches, a priest, brings this civil suit against Michael Vick pursuant to violations of civil rights, harassment, illegal dog fighting, drug trafficking, prostitution, and sports betting. Plaintiff seeks $25 million in damages. Compensatory, God, I couldn't even say the word right. I wrote the suit and I can't even say the word right. And punitive damages. Plaintiff prays for relief. Comes now at the plaintiff, Jonathan Lee Riches, a.k.a. the Google.com phenomenon.
The Google.com phenomenon. I think that shows right... The Google.com phenomenon. I think that shows right there that he's not... I know his facial hair, I was thinking the same thing. But I think that just shows there that he's being silly in the sense that he's not taking these very seriously. However, these allegations are so very serious. I'm going to go ahead a little bit so you guys could hear what he alleges here, because it's a lot.
Dog. I'm using him across town in a dog fight. I hope it gets slaughtered. You will never see it. Mr. Vick also threatened me personally with physical injury. Mr. Vick began shouting racist comments to me on the phone. Mr. Vick called me honky, white cracker, father white boy, Mr. Vick used profanity like the F word. I was personally insulted by this phone call. I'm still a nervous wreck to this day. On the morning of June 12, 2007, I woke and a black Labrador puppy named Holy was missing. I searched the entire house. When I opened the front door, a note was left on the doorstep signed by Michael Vick. The first few lines stated the following. Hey, Cracker Holy Man, I stole your little dog.
Okay, now real quick, you guys, the reason that I showed this part, and I'm going to continue playing it, I just don't want to get a copyright strike, but think about this. Imagine if you didn't steal someone's animal. I'm an animal lover. I have 2 dogs. You guys know how in love with Thor I am. Could you imagine if somebody accused you of taking their dog now? In light of what Michael Vick, was accused of and stuff, I get it. But it's just the fact of allegations that we'll hear over and over, and things that aren't serious that play on other people's thought process. And another reason that I think that this topic is so important is because these are the behaviors that can take out the fabric of our democracy type thing. I know this might sound ridiculous, but I did my dissertation on disinformation, misinformation, and the weaponization of information. And when you go back and you do some of the deep diving, there's some real, I don't even know what kind of behavior, just very antisocial, in my opinion, behaviors. Knowing that, you could be ruining someone's reputation and their livelihood and not caring. There's videos of him, yelling at some guy, you're going to go to jail, I'm going to show the police this, you're going to go to jail. I don't know. Let's keep watching so you guys see what I mean.
I'm using him across town in a dog fight. I hope it gets slaughtered. You will never see it again. Take this as a warning. If you ever tell anyone about my confessions about my joining Al-Qaeda jihadists, I will take your head off like what I'm going to do to your little dog. From June 12, 2007 until this day, I have never seen my dog again. Mr. Vick continues to call me and harass my life. I have suffered trauma because of Michael Vick. And here's the conclusion to the suit. My Labrador is exotic.
Oh, Harold, I know. Trust me, I've been reading stuff all day. Some mentioned that, but I didn't go to his channel. I don't know. So much drama these days. Have step back. This is the thing, you guys. There's just so much here. There's so much here.
A rare breed from Iceland. The Labrador was personally given to me by Pope Benedict at a Grateful Dead concert.
Okay.
Plaintiff seeks $25 million in damages from the defendant. Plaintiff moves this honorable court to issue an order for defendant in the suit to respond. Respectfully submitted, Jonathan Lee Riches. And I filed this suit against Michael Vick. Judge threw it out as frivolous. Today is the month of December 2012, 5 years later, and I am going to appeal this ruling. So I will keep you informed.
So there you go. The judge ruled it as frivolous. So I'm not even saying anything alleged. That literally is what happened. He tells us there. I then find this channel. She's really good. And she goes on to share with us another thing that was disturbing to her. And this is the thing that pulled on my heartstrings.
Left in the spontaneous memorials throughout the town on the days following the tragedy.
Okay, so let me set up what this is. Right now, he's at the memorial for Sandy Hook, and like I said before, he posed as being the uncle of the person that massacred these children. Gets caught. And then a few years later goes back to the memorial, and they said that he didn't, this person who does this is the thing, she does this 5 years ago. So she didn't create this yesterday, the day before. What I found, you guys, is that we're not the first people talking about this now. This has been talked about for years. And I just think that that's tragic. I'm going to leave some of this for a video. Let me just go to the main point. So this is one of the things that I thought were interesting. Watch this. I'm just going to go through and I want you to see. She, in her background, take notice just the whole time through her entire video, in the background, she has different cases of where he sued people. This is the part about Sandy Hook.
Of Adam Lanza, the accused killer, attached to a doll. He drove past recognizable landmarks, tried to approach the Lanza home, and turned back at a police checkpoint. Riches then drove to a makeshift memorial site in Newtown. Now, in his YouTube videos that he uploaded later online, he looked around the area for a while first. It then goes back to the memorial site where he identified himself to reporters as Jonathan Lanza, uncle of the school shooter. It was reported by the New York Daily News and other media outlets. He told journalists that the killer had been taking Fanapt, an antipsychotic drug prescribed for the treatment of schizophrenia. As photographers snapped away, Riches dropped to a knee and feigned praying for the young victims.
Think about that. We know that that's not true. We know that he's not the uncle of Adam Lanza, right? So this isn't even an alleged thing here. I think that was my point here, is that we have more than just allegations. There are so many things, and again, people are going to say, well, he did his time, da, da, da. But these things, you guys, are things that he never was held accountable for. Like, he wasn't held accountable for this. There's no charges for this. You're allowed to lie to the media and the public. That's not a crime. It might be immoral, but it's not necessarily against the law. We have freedom of speech in our country, and I think Cece would, back that. So Cece says the Sullivan case has become Channel Wars was a Sebastian Rogers case. Teams now focusing on DM court case, the upcoming year anniversary of the missing children, and any announcements by the RCMP. Thank you for sharing that. Wait till you guys see. I don't know if you guys saw it, and I will show it. The one to Hitler. I almost died.
Of course, as we all know, this was completely fabricated. Riches has no connection whatsoever to Adam Lanza, and he used this tragedy, this traumatic experience for the entire country. It's the worst school shooting, mass shooting in history. And Jonathan Lee Riches used that tragedy like a parasite. He exploited the hell out of it, and he was proud of it. Heels in the Air has this audio from a 2015 interview that Jonathan did. He describes his actions at Newtown. And
okay, listen up to this next part, because this next part is in his own voice. And I am going to get the name of this creator. I'm going to try to look it up real quick while I share this, because I want to make sure she gets all of the credit. She literally did this 5 years ago. Hey, Laura, welcome in. Hey, Shannon.
Afterwards will prove how he was lying again.
I went up to Sandy Hook, but they do it. I didn't say I did it in court, though. I tried to play the denial role, but, I was actually at Adam Lanza's window in his house and get chased off by a neighbor. I had decided to get on my knees and start praying. At that point, while I was praying on my knees, I could hear the snapshots, like camera snapshot me. So I thought, okay, let me just wing this. So I just pretend I was crying. And I started crying, going hysterical, and the cameras were rolling. I get up from the...
I paused it for a second when I was taping it. I do apologize.
Hated the hell out of it, and he was proud of it. Heels in the Air has this audio from a 2015 interview that Jonathan did. He describes his the entire country. It's the worst school shooting, mass shooting in history. And Jonathan Lee Riches used that tragedy like a parasite. He exploited the hell out of it, and he was proud of it. Heels in the Air has this audio from a...
I don't know why I just redid that. I apologize. It went back like, here, I'll go 30 seconds forward. so it'll be back to where it was. This is Deets on the Streets. Deets on the Streets, and this was 3 years ago she did this video.
I thought, okay, let me just wing this. So I just pretend I was crying. And I started crying, going hysterical, and the cameras were rolling. I get up from the memorial, and this one media journalist comes up to me and says, "Sir, you're very emotional here. What's going on?" And then at that point, I just winked it. I'm Jonathan Lanza. So at this point, by identifying myself as Jonathan Lanza, then I started to get flooded like cockroaches. Everybody, all media outlets started swarming me, wanting an interview and asking me my take, and I just winged it. And, I basically said I was with Adam Lanza 2 weeks prior. We had a barbecue. Everything was fine. It had to be the medication. It had to be the Fanac, and so on and so on. At that point, I started getting worried and a little scared because I was getting overwhelmed with media. I'm not used to media coverage like that. So I basically ran off, kind of walked away from the scene, but I was getting chased by media, and I didn't know what to do because my car was up the road.
Okay, this is important, you guys, because he tells us right here that he gets caught by the media and that he wasn't used to getting media coverage back then. So this brought negative attention, right? So with that being said, he tells us that he got caught doing this. Like, this is a disgrace, right? Like, this is terrible. And we're going to see how, if you could do this, and there's other things that he's done, when we then look at the documents and the things that are being alleged today, it doesn't seem as far-fetched anymore, and that's just a shame. And again, this is just alleged. These are only allegations. I hope in a few weeks I'm on here and I'm like, oh, there was some big mix-up. You know what I mean? And I would definitely be the first to do that if that's the case. But let's see.
And I was parked across the street from a church, and believe it or not, during that time, the actual victims of the shootings, the family, were praying in that church. And the church was basically, there was security outside the church to protect the families and whatnot. My car was parked across the street, and I was running up the hill, and the media was chasing me, but I didn't want to get in my car because they might have gotten my license plate and realized that I was not Jonathan Lanza and identified me or whatnot. So I just looked at the church, and I just ran to the church. And at that point, the security saw me and must have realized that the media were chasing me because I was a victim's family member or somebody. So they grabbed me, the security, and ushered me into the church and told the other media to back off the property. And I get into the church, and I was thanking them, "Thank you, you saved my life. These people want an interview from me and whatnot." I said, my nephew died from this tragedy, and I switched the role playing at that point. Now I become a victim. There's victims.
Did you just hear what he said? I'm going to rewind that one part. Listen to what he just said.
He had ushered me into the church and told the other media to back off the property, and I get into the church, and I was thanking them, "Thank you, you saved my life. These people want an interview from me and whatnot." I said, my nephew died from this tragedy, and I switched the role playing at that point. Now I become a victim. There's victims' family members flooded in there, praying. And one of the preachers, or I don't know who he was, he must have been the head preacher there, comes out and talks to me, and I said, "Look, you don't even understand, these media here are trying to get an interview from me, whatever like that, and I need your help." So he brings over a big gentleman inside the church, and he goes, "This guy's a retired police officer. He's security here. Give him the keys to your car. He'll pull it around back, and you can get in your car and leave." And I was at that, for a second, I was going to give him my keys, but I realized on the front seat of my car was Adam and Bryan Lanza dolls.
Let me just tell you what that is real quick. So back earlier in the video, the dolls, she's going to show us a picture of these dolls. Hi, Gutter Snipe. Hi, Lynn. I've seen a few people come in. There's a few of you here that I just saw come in. Lucy Day, welcome in. Keep coming in, you guys. So this is important because there's these dolls that he has, that he puts the face of himself and the face of Adam Lanza on. You'll see it, but just know that the dolls he's talking about are dolls that he makes, and he adds it as a prop to the story.
I had, so I said, I can't go that route, but I said, I need some help getting out of here, whatnot. And he said, "Well, come down to the basement, I'll give you a change of clothes, like a disguise." And this guy here, he had some escort guy, he said, "He'll take you through the woods, through the town, down the street, and you can go about your way." And I said, "Okay, cool." So I put on a different outfit, went out the back door of the church, and we started walking in the woods. And then I realized how, this is ridiculous, this is cold, whatever. So I just gave my keys to the guy that they had with me. I said, look, dude, here, just take my keys. This is my car. It's across the street from the church. Bring it down here right now, whatever, like that. I got lucky because on my front seat, the dolls were there, but I had a towel over the dolls. So he didn't get to see the dolls. So.
Okay, so he starts giving excuses for why nobody saw the dolls, or he says that he was turned away from the family's house, but then later says that he was that he left because he had his camera rolling or something like that. But she goes on to show different stories.
I start driving home to the immediate school outside the church. I drive down to the high school, and the word was Barack Obama was going to fly into town and talk to some of the victims' families. He was flying. So I actually parked down the street from the high school and went through the woods up to the high school where there were some media people already camped out there, and I was there for a while. I was there for about an hour or two, but then Secret Service came. They came early before Barack arrived and started sweeping the property. So Secret Service, they asked me up for my media credentials. They asked me who I was, and I told them, I'm media. I'm an independent journalist. And they asked me for my media credentials. I didn't have any and stuff like that, so I got escorted off the property. That was around 4 p.m. that day. This was Sunday, the 16th. The 14th was on a Friday. St. Hope was on a Friday, so this was the 16th on a Sunday.
So this was 2 days after the massacre.
It was later on in the day, and I started seeing pictures of me viral online, kneeling at the memorial and whatnot. Programs at constant, but then I guess something happened in the next day or two where people started realizing, I wasn't who I was, and then that started going viral. A lot of these places that put me out as Jonathan Lanza started retracting it. I just think it's amazing that the media would actually put me out there as Jonathan Lanza without me providing them any credentials and, just saying who I am. I mean, that's a classic form of media trolling and incompetence on the media's part.
Boom. You guys, did you just hear what he said? Did you just hear what he said? Just in case.
Media would actually put me out there as Jonathan Lanza without me providing them any credentials and, just saying who I am. I mean, that's a classic form of media trolling and incompetence on the media's part.
What do I always say when it comes to behaviors, right? We see narcissistic behaviors where, oh my God, you guys, it's never their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. That's what we hear here, you guys, right? It's the media's incompetence. They never asked him for his credentials. Therefore, it's their fault. It's not his fault. He said he was Adam Lanza's uncle. The media was too dumb to ask for his credentials, and therefore, they had it coming to them.
I would say. So that was basically I posted the videos up on Facebook, local police department, I don't know, some way somehow I get my calls now to my police department says the videos are all mine, and then I'm just taking a shower, I guess it's on the 19th of December, and there's a knock on my door, and there's about 20 police officers at my door, ready to detain me, and I haven't seen the light of day since.
So Jonathan's first lie was that he was at the window of Adam Lanza and a neighbor ran him off. Well, thanks to his own recording, although this is not from him, it's another YouTube channel had it posted, and it was also on a news site. But from his own recording, that's not what happened.
Jonathan
These are the dolls, you guys. This is Adam Lanza and his faces on top of dolls. On top of dolls.
Riches. And I'm here with my friends Adam and Ryan Lanza, and we are at Bresson Farm Road, and we are going to the neighborhood of 36 Yogananda Street in Sandy Hook, Connecticut. We are going to go to the house of Ryan and Adam Lanza.
I'm assuming Ryan. I apologize. I said him and Adam. He's the uncle. This is Ryan and Adam Lanza. So he's trying to drive to their house, and he wants to get access to the house, so he actually goes up and knocks on the door, you guys.
Okay, I removed the audio and sped this next part up because all he's doing is driving up to Adam Lance's house with his creepy ass dolls. I wanted to leave the audio on the first part to prove to you that it is in fact Jonathan Lee Riches. You can tell that from his voice. But there's also a part coming up where I will freeze it and you can see his face. So we know it's the day he went to Sandy Hook. He's attempting to go up to Adam Lance's house. He gets turned down by law enforcement, other people protecting the house, and asked to leave. There is no neighbor. He didn't go up to any window. He never even got out of the car. Just more fabrication from Riches. Everything this man does is a made-up story.
Well, I just got kicked out. God told me to turn the camera off. I just got kicked out. Just let us go. I don't know what's going on there. How do you feel about that? I had to throw the dolls down. Oh, I'm sorry. I ruined your face. I'm sorry I ruined your face. Anyway, this guy here told me to turn the camera down.
So he got kicked out of the family's house, like he went up and knocked with these dolls, and he said he had to throw the dolls down.
Turn the camera off.
There's a couple other lies that Jonathan tells us in that audio clip, right? There's about 30 minutes of video from his trip to Sandy Hook. I'm not going to share all that because it would just be ridiculously long, but there's a few pieces of audio I really want you to hear.
You'll see there, down that street there, it's Sandy Hook Elementary School. Police are not letting anyone go past there unless you are law enforcement. I believe they're trying to cover something up. I believe this whole incident was a false flag attack. I believe that Adam Lanza was mind controlled by the Illuminati or possibly by some sort of New World Order global elitists.
He did just say that. He did. He did just say that. He said that. Did you guys hear that?
I'm here as a truth seeker to figure out what's going on and to find answers. Because this will affect every American with the taking away of their civil liberties and the disarmament.
There were multiple memorials around Sandy Hook, and Jonathan visits them all.
Jonathan Lee Riches, Sandy Hook Elementary School. Front entrance. They're not letting anyone in. Adam Lanza was a victim of a mind control experiment orchestrated by the Illuminati. And I'm here to solve the puzzle.
You guys, like what? And again, one of the other reasons I felt that this was important to show was because this is something that we already know has been debunked and that obviously isn't true and that he's now talking about. Like, in these recordings, in some of them, he was talking about, like, how he did this and da-da-da-da, and it didn't seem like he was very remorseful or anything like that. So, I think this is interesting in that this is something, like, imagine... First of all, imagine just even doing this, right? So now let's say that we can't imagine that. Imagine them getting caught, and this isn't even doubling down. This is like telling the truth, but just not really caring. Like, it's the media's fault, it's everyone's fault. Wait till you see.
Jonathan Lee Riches. And today is December 16, 2012, and I'm behind the crime scene. I've made it behind the police, and this is downtown Newton, Connecticut, site of the Sandy Hook school shooting massacre.
So we've heard twice now that he was...
Okay, let's get this taken care of real quick, because I want you guys to be able to hear me. So what's happening is my computer sucks, and I need to save up to get a new one because it literally sucks, you guys. And I don't even know. It's the fan. So I moved my computer away, like further away, and then put my microphone over here. So let me know if it's working or not, because if not, I'll try to figure it out. Hi, Travis. Is it different when I have, like, when I show the thing and the microphone is muted? Oh, it's starting to slow down. I said a prayer while we were all listening. I think it's because of the video I'm playing. So let me know what I should do, because, yes, so tragic. Gonna inhale deeply and keep watching. I love you, Ember Burns. Thank you so much. Hi, Thomas. Hi, Alana. I don't know why I just said that. Hi, Lynn. Oh, I see what you're saying. Cuffy, you just said, is it because it's flat on my table? It is. You guys, my nickname is Straight A Stupid. So what do I do with it, Cuffy? The hell am I supposed to do with it? Hold it in the air. Alright, I put it like half off the table. Here we go. I'm going to hold it up for a minute and see what happens. I'm going to turn off the video. For a second. Is the you guys are so smart. Let me try that real quick. I have books here because I'm a teacher. So let me grab a book or two and put that under. Thank you so much for giving me a second to figure this out. I really appreciate you guys. Alright, let's see. What books do I have here? I have Understanding Abnormal Behavior and Mystery Puzzles. That's what's going to hold this up right now. Alright, let's see. Oh my god, that's so funny, you guys. This might work. Who's going to do that? That was so smart. Hold on. Alright, we're getting somewhere. So now we just have to wait for it to cool down a minute because... Oh, how about you're all the way far away? Now you're closer. I apologize. Take a deep breath. Yes, I did get a new computer, Cat, but what happened was I'm like so frugal that I got like what I thought was the best computer for the lowest amount of money, and that was not the right decision. I should not have done that. That was not very smart, and I don't buy computers enough to know that that was not a smart idea. So my computer, what I thought was going to be an upgrade, I think probably was a downgrade. I almost want to do my next live on my old computer, but then I sacrificed the camera. So it's like I can't win. I don't know. I need to just save up and get a new computer, and that's all. I'd go for the MacBook. That's what my daughter has. Get a fan for under the laptop. I will do that. I don't know what I was thinking, but this is the thing, Lucy. It was on like one of those Amazon days where they're like, you know, it's like $1,000 computer for so much less, but it's like I should have known better. Ugh. All right, so let me play a couple. Let me just see if there's anything else here. Maybe I'll make this into a video. I really think that it's because I have this video playing in the background. It's working it harder. So there were a few other things. Maybe I'll put them in a video, or you know what I'll do? I'll close this out for a minute, and then what I'm going to do is, hold on, here I come. Hey, y'all. I know. Bear with me for 1 second. I do apologize. I really do. But I did just close that, so I'm hoping that in like 1 second, this whole thing gets better. So let's all just say a prayer. But in the meantime, let me share my slides again, and maybe I'll do another minute of this. Oh, this is so annoying. All right, hopefully it's going to get better now. I hear it slowing down. So let's talk about this next slide. And let me know if it's really that bad, you guys. I'll figure out something else. If I have to, I'll join from my phone and go in another room. Like, I will figure this out. I'm not a giver-upper. And I work too damn hard on this live.
Thanks for the sub.
Oh, thank you for subbing. Oh my god. Who was it? Hold on, I have to wait for it to be on the screen over here. Oh, where is it? Thank you for the sub. I appreciate you so much, whoever it was. I do appreciate you. So I just moved my phone over a little bit so I could see better. It's starting to slow down a little bit, so hopefully that's going to help you guys. Okay. All right, here we go. So this next one is, well, it says closing message. I think I went too far. Hold on one sec. We're not at closing message yet. I think I was just like scrolling. All right, we did this. We did this. And now here we are. The timeline of the story that the audience needs to know. So this is like the evidence map. So here we go. We have the timeline. This matters because inter-partner violence is usually a pattern question, not an incident question, you guys. So that's what we're always talking about. We're talking about how we're looking at patterns, not incident. Oh my God, Laura, thank you so much. Laura gifted 1 Curious Mind membership. Thank you, Laura. That was so very, 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 very generous of you. And welcome to Yes Ma'am. Yes Ma'am, you were the one that got that mind behind true crime. Look, all of a sudden I got like another pep in my step. Thank you so much, Laura. That was really generous of you. All right, let's get back to this real quick. There we go. There, I was going to say, where's her introduction at? We got it, you guys. There it goes. Now it should stay up there for 30 seconds. Here we go. So, the public persona timeline tells us that, or tells me, that this outrageous behavior is not new, okay? The relationship timeline tells me that the alleged violence is being described as escalating over time. The petition says that the relationship ran from January 2023 through December 2025. It, excuse me, it separately describes an August 2025 assault when, and then more serious Christmas incident that left the petitioner describing broken facial injuries, head and rib trauma, emergency treatment, and ongoing fear. Then the article says a protection order followed in January 2026. That sequence is important because it frames the story as persistent and escalating, not random and isolated. The older public record, from the litigation history to the Sandy Hook impersonation episode that I just shown you, does not prove IPV, but it does show. Oh my God, Lynn. Yes, Lynn. Thank you so much, Lynn Allen. Thank you. Oh my God, that was so very generous of you. Wow. I appreciate you so much. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I have to like this and heart it. Thank you. Wow. Oh my God, thank you. So this, I think the fan's getting better too, you guys. It's slowing down and it's like almost stopping. Thank you so much for the book idea too. I think we're getting there. Hopefully you guys hear not as much fan in the background. Let me know. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much, Lynn. Thank you. Wow. For my computer fund, you're right. I do need a new computer, and I am not going to go cheap this time, I promise. Not that I'm going to get anything like so expensive, but I mean, I am definitely way too frugal on myself, but everybody else, I'm always so generous. And then when it comes to myself, I'm like, oh, look, this is a great deal. And then I wonder why it sucks. I'm learning. You live and you learn, right? You live and you learn. So back to the article, right? The article says protection order that followed in January 2026. So, and I don't know if, do we know, Cece, or anybody else that knows, do we know, is it the 3-year protection order? Or is it, temporary? I believe, has it already been given? Because this is a thing. And Travis is here too, right? Hi, Travis. I'm so excited you're here now that I think about it, because I need to know if it's already been established. So did they already get, was it granted is the word I'm looking for? And if so, doesn't that mean that they had to find enough probable cause if there was a 3-year one? I could see if it was a temporary one, but if it's something like a 3-year or there's a number on it, wouldn't they all have already, and correct me if I'm wrong, but wouldn't they have already looked through all the evidence and come to the conclusion that there's a reason for a 3-year span? People are saying yes. So Travis says yes. Yes, 3 years was given. So that makes me feel a little bit calmer about doing this episode, because this is an allegation, right? But let's be honest. You don't just get a 3-year restraining order because you go in and you tell somebody that somebody scared you or that somebody hurt you. You know what I mean? There has to be evidence for that to happen. So let's keep that in mind too. Okay, so what was I just going to say here? So this doesn't prove IPV, but it does show that deception, attention, extraction, and high drama public behavior did not suddenly appear yesterday. And that's the important part of this, you guys. So let's go to the next slide. Okay, this next slide is, oh wait, I think this is the one that I just said. So here goes the timeline that I just said. I'm going to put this in Discord. So don't worry, we'll have this in Discord. The next slide is why this should be analyzed as IPV. Thanks for the not sub. Reduced. Oh, thank you for the sub, Linda. Linda, thank you. Welcome. So one reason this case matters psychologically is that people often miss abuse when it does not fit a simple movie script. They expect a single dramatic event, visible bruises, which we actually have a picture here, right? We have two pictures, or one might just be a close-up of the other, but we do have a picture here. So we do have something that was put in the record, and I do believe that the picture was taken by LE, not just, not that it would matter. You know what I mean? If somebody takes their own picture, but I do believe that this is an evidence picture, which then gives it more credibility, in my opinion. Okay, so intimate IPV includes much more than hitting, you guys. So public health definitions, and I have all my sources at the end. So public health definitions include physical, these are all going to be types of V, okay? And all of this is stuff that I literally just taught last semester in my family violence class. So, and I just said V and then say violence, whatever. Anyway, so these next things that I'm talking about, according to the public health definitions, we never usually come up with one definition of anything in the literature or in research. However, there's usually common themes that the literature shares. So for example, most definitions include physical violence, sexual, coercion, stalking, psychological aggression, and economic abuse. And coercive control literature goes even further by asking whether the relationship structure itself is organized around domination. And I really do, I'm looking hard into that because I do think there is something to that. So if somebody says, maybe we're born toxic, or why didn't she just leave, or this just sounds messy, I want to redirect them. So I want to redirect those people. So those are often spectator questions, not analytical questions. The better question here is whether one partner used fear, intimidation, threats, money, image management, and repeated violence to shrink the other person's freedom. Does that make sense? And that's the problem here, right? So we have a power differentiation here where one person has control and the other is more in a submissive type role. And submissive just meaning that they might, they might feel like they have to go with the flow out of fear of losing finances, image in some sense, so on and so forth. So the next slide is about coercive control. So this is the backbone of many abusive relationships, you guys. So listen up. If you're in one of these, this is why this is so important for you to, this is like something that you need to take seriously. So even if, let's say you're just dating somebody and you met like 6 months ago or something, and let's say they've never actually hit you, but they've like pushed you or like they've like touched your shoulder or something in an argument, that is a red flag. It really is. People don't realize it. Are there, 1 or 2 stories out there where it stops after that? Sure, but that's not the norm. The norm is that it escalates and that it gets worse and worse and worse each time. So we see coercive control as the backbone of these types of relationships. So if even part of this petition is accurate, coercive control, in my opinion, appears to be the spine of this particular story. This is my opinion. And this is based off of years and years and years of psychological research. So the filing does not describe only one night. It describes a relationship pattern involving repeated assault, strangulation, threats to take someone out, ongoing intimidation, and fear after a major incident, okay? And theft or control of joint funds. There's an allegation there that he took the money out of their joint account. And again, there are allegations, but there's been enough as far as the DV for a 3-year restraining order to be enacted. Okay, so let's see, where did I leave off? Okay, so this is important because this cluster is exactly why coercive control is such an important frame, in my opinion. So coercive control matters because it explains why the victim is not responding only to the incident. She's responding to a whole architecture, you guys. So this is a whole structure. I talk about systems all the time. This is a systems thing. This is fear of retaliation, fear of being taken out, fear of economic instability, fear of being disbelieved, and fear that the abuse will continue even after separation, which is another thing that was alleged in this incident. She said even after she left the situation, she still felt intimidated and in fear of going and telling, the story because of intimidation. So this is why public often misunderstand abuse. They think that the event is the whole story. In reality, the event often sits inside a much bigger control system. Okay? And I think that that is so important for people to understand. This next slide is the difference. Abuse tactics can work together and escalate risk. Okay? So here we have different types of tactics that can work together. So the most serious abuse cases usually do not involve a single tactic. They stack. So they stack on top of each other. So physical violence creates fear. Threats keep that fear active. Financial abuse creates dependence and punishment. Psychological intimidation makes the victim feel watched, trapped, and destabilized. And if the victim leaves, post-separation harassment can continue this system. The strangulation alleged in this particular incident is very important in my opinion. In IPV research, non-fatal strangulation is not treated as a casual detail. It's a major warning sign because it's associated with a higher risk of later lethal V, right? So that does not mean homicide will occur, but it does mean that the risk analysis changes the moment the strangulation enters the picture. And I literally have multiple sources here. Just know that when I add sources for each one of these things, so for example, I add Glass et al. Non-fatal strangulation is an important risk factor for homicide of women. I don't know if people know this too. Like, women are usually the victims here, but it's not always a male perpetrator. So I do think that that's important. We actually see the recent case, which I will probably do a live one eventually too, of the Bachelorette. So, you know, I want to look into that as well. So this next slide goes into what the Arkansas filing adds to the story. So this is most important update slide because it tells everyone exactly why the source base is stronger now. So, you know, now that we have court documents, these aren't just, you know, these are allegations for sure, but a lot of speculation from the past. I showed videos from 3 years ago that now show to have validation, things like that. The more time that goes on, the more pile up we see here, in my opinion. The Arkansas petition is not vague. It gives a relationship period, labels the pattern as persistent and escalating, and names multiple abuse tactics. It alleges approximately 24 strangulations, you guys. 24. Think about that. 24. If you do any research on this, and like I said, I have an entire list of resources at the end that I'm sharing with everybody on Discord right after we're done. But if you look at the research, she is so lucky to not have, you know, to be alive. Let's just be honest. Thank God she was able to get out of the situation, and that she now is reported. I know she put out a statement today about, you know, her friends, family, and therapy, stuff like that. They're all tools that she's using right now to heal, and that it's going to be a process. Really, it's going to be a process, but that she's willing to do the work. So back to here. Okay. So we have 24 alleged strangulations here. It describes on August 2025, so this is like, you know, months prior, that an assault involving repeated blows with a closed fist. Okay? And it describes the Christmas incident as a severe attack producing broken facial structures, head and rib trauma, emergency treatment, imaging, and future reconstructive surgery. Then it adds the coercive control layer after the assault, so threats to kill if she reported him or called 911. Do you guys remember in the video, I don't want to go back to it because I don't want the fan to start going crazy again, but in the video that I showed, they literally, the one person says that if he says it as in his Michael Vick what's it called, like, lawsuit, he says that Michael Vick said that if I do that or whatever, that he'll kill me. So it's like that same language, which in my opinion just makes this more believable, right? So that's another reason it's good to look at past statements and past things that people say, so that you can compare them to things in the future. And if it's the same language, often you'll get, you know, you get that chill, or you get that feeling like, oh wow, like I've heard that before. And that happened a lot when I was researching this stuff today. So it adds, so this, we're talking about the petition still, it adds the coercive control layer after the assault. So threats to kill if she reported him or called 911, ongoing fear, intimidation, continued contact, and theft of joint funds. So that's why this is no longer reads like a generic messy breakup, in my opinion, right? It reads like a structured allegation of power, control, terror, and retaliation. Excuse me, let me say that again. It reads like a structured allegation of power, control, terror, and retaliation, in my opinion. Okay, so is Jamie, or JT, let's say, Phillips, JP, sorry, credible? So here we go. We're going to use this as a framework, not a vibe check. So my credibility answer is discipline, not simplistic. On one hand, this is not a case where I can casually dismiss the alleged victims unseriousness. The Arkansas petition is sworn and detailed, you guys. The article adds reported procedural corroboration, including an order of protection and probable cause statement. The allegations also hang together behaviorally, so there's physical violence, threats, economic abuse, intimidation, and post-instance retaliation, which often co-occur in coercive control cases. On the other hand, credibility is not the same thing as proof, okay? So credibility is not the same thing as proof. The article flags Phillips' prior credibility baggage from the Roy Moore story, and the case has not been fully adjudicated. So this is going to be important here. So the honest answer is not, yes, queen, this is 100%, or liar, liar. So I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know which one it is. I guess we're going to have to see. There's going to have to be whatever investigation. But I would never, if somebody, she called the cops allegedly right after, and they came right away. So, I mean, you don't just break your own nose. Like, that just doesn't even make sense to me, at least. So let's see. But I know that people are saying things like that. Like, did she open a cabinet? And I'm like, wait, what? Like, that just, it's almost insulting. I don't know. So, I wrote here, the honest answer is that her account is serious, source supported, and materially stronger than personality-based dismissal would suggest, while still remaining on the allegation stage. So we do have to remember that these are allegations as of right now. For me, the stronger live here was talking about inter-partner violence and domestic violence, because there are things that our audience, coercive control, these are all things that a lot of people go through or had been through in the past. So I do think that it's important. So this is where public persona analysis becomes powerful, you guys. So the Sandy Hook episode that we watched is not domestic V. It's not proof of that. So I want to be crystal clear about that. However, it is valuable in that it suggests a long-standing willingness to manipulate identity, exploit tragedy, and use media as a stage. And that's the thing. I want you guys to realize that, in my opinion, once he learned how to use media to his advantage, he started to exploit that in different ways. Like, I would consider this exploiting a situation, right? And we'll see it over and over and over again. He inserted himself into national trauma and made unsubstantiated claims to the press. The broader user provided reporting also describes trolling. So he talks about media trolling, impersonation, disinformation, and attention extraction as long-running themes. So this is the thing. In research, we look for, in the data, we look for patterns. And then once we were able to identify patterns, we look for bigger themes. So I think this is important, in my opinion, because I see enough of it that for me, it makes that move from pattern to theme. And that's where this differs for me, if we're looking from, who's more credible than who type thing, which I am not trying to get involved in. So this federal order is devastating to general credibility in, just overall, in my opinion. So courts do not casually describe a litigant as a serial filer and say that the claims before them are irrational and wholly incredible, which that happened in many of the cases, or almost all of the cases that he filed. There were over 4,000 of them. The opinion also documents the PACER showing 474 actions by January 15, 2008, and notes at least 7 prior dismissals as frivolous. That gives us objective, court-authored evidence and performative and bizarre litigation behavior, and it's long-standing. So I am using this carefully, though. I'm not saying, therefore, every later victim is right about everything, but I am saying this. When I evaluate things like credibility, image management, and the use of systems, I talk about systems all the time. I'm a marriage and family therapist. and the use of systems for spectacle. This order matters a lot. It suggests public chaos is not a side story. It's part of the story. And we see this over and over. It's just cyclical. Okay, so about the reported diagnosis, we're almost at the end, hang in there. So about the reported diagnosis and prison documentary claims, the one that I saw with him taking, I believe this is one about the anorexia, but hold on, let's see. So this is where good psychology has to be disciplined psychology. There's a prison doc and it uses certain labels. I think I told you that it lists that he had anorexia, borderline, and antisocial personality. So unless that document or reliable transcript, oh wait, I did. This is the one that I said that I did find it. Because I put here that if it's available, I should treat the label as unverified. But I actually found the document. So I should have, that's the one I should have changed. I apologize. More importantly, when these diagnoses are real, they do not function as moral absolution, nor do they tell the whole story of coercion, violence, or manipulation. So tonight, I should stay on the strongest ground: behavior, pattern, credibility, risk, and accountability. That's my professional lane, okay? So here we go. So the bigger story: why viewers keep missing abuse in plain sight. So this is the thesis slide, you guys. So you guys are going to be tempted to get hypnotized by the weirdness, right? You'll want to talk about the trolling, the lawsuits, including me. When I say you, I'm talking about me too. About, it's attractive to look at the stories about trolling, lawsuits, court stunts, Sandy Hook, the public chaos. Those details matter, but only if they help us see the abuse dynamic more clearly. The real danger is when outrageousness becomes camouflage. If everyone is focused on a carnival, they miss the victim standing next to it. Okay, let me say that again. If we're all focused on the carnival, we may miss the victim standing next to it. So the bigger story is this: public spectacle and private coercion may not be separate systems. In some cases, they reinforce each other, okay? This matters because attention can become money, social proof, narrative control, and intimidation. All right, so here goes some closing messages and my references. So my closing message would be this: if even part of this record is true, right? This is not just a weird internet person story, because I'm going to show you something to end it off in too, but it's a coercive control story. It's a financial abuse story. It's a risk story. It's a story about how spectacle can distract audiences from power, fear, and harm. And so we should all leave here tonight with a better filter. Do not ask only whether someone is being weird or bizarre. Ask whether the bizarre public persona may have been useful. Do not judge credibility by charm, okay, or unlikability. Judge it by cooperation, specificity, procedural support, and most of all, by patterns, okay? And here goes my references here. Hold on, Thor, come here. You can wait 1 second, I'm almost done. So let me find this one thing to end it with. I did have it open. Where is it? Hold on, I have it. I want to show you guys. I was like, wait, what's happening? All right, hold on, let me just pull it up real quick. I don't know why it went down. It's on our Discord. Hold on, I could actually show you guys why I look for it. So everyone, I'm sure Cuff U will add our Discord link so that everybody can join if you would like to. Okay, so over here, all right, Cuff U, what am I doing? Here we go. So let's look. Where's this case at? We have so many cases. Here we go. All right, you guys, you ready for this? Wait till you see this. It's one of the very first things. Oh yeah, that was the symbol for if somebody's in danger, which is on my thumbnail. Here we go. Ready for this, you guys?
I, Jonathan Lee Riches. This message is for Dictator Adolf and James Holmes. I love you guys. I love you guys to death. This is what I want to do to you guys. Use your imagination.
Blech. Okay. What was that? What was that, you guys? That was wrong on so many levels, I can't even tell you. Okay? Oh, Gutter Snipe says that this has been so helpful. Are you serious? Thank you. Oh my god, I appreciate that. Oh my god, I appreciate all of you. Are we going to watch the rest of the video with you? Please. The thing, we can't hear anything. I'm just going to make it a video and upload it, I think. Might as well just travel. Oh, we were talking about something else there. Sorry, my hand is right in the middle of the thing. My bad. Didn't see that. So, you guys, this is just wrong in so many ways. So, this isn't going to be the last time that we talk about this. This is the thing, though. It's 11 o'clock and it's Saturday night, and everyone knows that I usually hang out with my husband on Saturday. So I want to make sure that I get up there and at least watch something with him before he falls asleep, or I'll feel bad. So, because, you know what I mean? You should pay attention to each other. So I'm going to hang up, but I will be back probably tomorrow. And you guys let me know what you want to talk about. If you want to continue this, we continue this. If we talk about something else, we will talk about something else. It only takes me a few hours to get everything together. So if you guys just let me know in the comments, that would be great. And please do me a favor. My analytics show that I don't have very much engagement, which I thought was pretty crappy. I was like, wait, what's happening? So if you guys could like stuff and I don't know, engage some, put high, I don't know, put a 1 if you like tonight's, if you like my PowerPoints, something. I just need to get more comments up there. That would just be so helpful. So Gutter Snipe says, I appreciate you, Dr. Vona. Leaving family violence is so hard, but understanding what happened takes work. 1,000%. 1,000%. Oh, Alan, I'm sorry. Alan, listen. I want to be a married woman, right? So, I really do need to go pay attention for a little bit. But I will come back tomorrow. And I don't have any time tomorrow that I have to be off by, so we can chat until we're ready to hang up. You know what I mean? So, aww. Thank you. Thank you, Cuff You. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. You guys, thank you so much. You have no idea. I appreciate you so much. That was so very generous of you. Thank you. Sorry, I'm putting my arm in front of the camera again. Thank you so much, guys. I love you guys so much. You guys are great. Wow. Thank you. Thank you to my mods. Thank you for everybody for being here. I appreciate you so very much. Wow. Thank you, you guys. You guys are the best. And just so everybody knows, and nobody feel like you ever have to do this, but if anybody, sometimes I feel like creators should put out there, like, especially if it's low, our membership's $1.99. I keep it really low so that everybody can join, and I tell people all the time, if it's something you really want to do but you can't do that month, no big deal. But if you really wanted to, and you were like, I really want to be a part of this, and I just can't do it this month, get in touch with me. I will Venmo you the $2 so that you can be a part of our group or the green or whatever the hell it is, because I never want anybody to feel left out. But I love you all, and I appreciate you all, and I thank you all for coming. And Thor is like, pay attention to me, biatch. So I'm going to go pay attention to Thor. Thank you guys so much. Please be safe, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Love you guys.